Alright, this is a video on a airbox removal of a 2007 or under KLR 650 airbox removal. Right there. Guy that had it for me told me the air filter was good when I bought it and got it home. And of course, wanted to go through this stuff. Wasn't running just right, so I know the carb was going to have to be cleaned. I checked the airbox and he lied to me. The air filter was completely disintegrated, and I'm sure a lot of it has went into the carburetor and causing some of those troubles. But I have to get this airbox off to give it a good cleaning. There's no cleaning it on the bike. This is a big project. You have to take the entire rear subframe off the bike to get the airbox out of the frame to where you can clean it good. Here's some of the things that you have to remove. Both side covers, of course, the tank, and the tank's right here. They got a huge tank on them, so you ain't gonna want this thing full of gas when you do it. The tank's easy to remove, a couple of bolts in the back. You have to take the fairings off the side in the front before you remove the tank. There's a vacuum line and a gas line coming from the fuel shutoff switch that you have to disconnect. Then you have to remove the inner fender on the back and disconnect the wires, which they plug together. There's the inner fender. You don't have to remove the pannier rack because it is attached to the subframe. I thought I could just take the bottom bolts out and tilt the subframe up like this and get it out. But you can't. So I'm going to have to take the top ones out too. Once I get that out, then that airbox will come out. I can give it a good cleaning, put a new filter in there, and it'll allow me a little bit easier access to the carburetor. You also have to take the back part of your exhaust off, which is attached to the subframe. When I lifted the subframe, it come apart there at the joint. It's turned out to be a bigger project than I thought it would be, but everything always is. So it gives me access to check everything out. And give it a good inspection. The battery box is also kind of made into that subframe. Well, into the airbox. It takes a 6mm Allen wrench to get these screws out. And I did find that some of this stuff was loose, because these thumpers, they vibrate quite a bit, and I guess they tend to loosen up a lot of the stuff. Alright, there's one. And you've also got some, this is a vent hose for the fuel tank. There was also another vent hose that run back up and under the fender with the wiring harness. And then a vent, or a drain, I guess, for the battery that also run down through the inner fender that has to come out as well. This is a pretty big job. This is the first KLR I've owned. I always wanted one. Bought it off a guy this past weekend, and he was a little less than truthful about, you know, things like the airbox. He specifically said he checked the air filter and it was good, and I took his word on it, which was a mistake. Bike's got about 25,000 miles on it. It's a 1996 model. I put about 70 miles on it. Thought I'd pull it in here and give it a going over, because I just love the way this bike rides. I don't think I've ever had a motorcycle that I enjoy riding more than this. It just handles so good. It vibrates some, but that's just the nature, I guess, of that big single cylinder. But I literally love to ride this motorcycle. And there's another bolt. Looks like it's still got some Loctite on it, so it appears that that hadn't been off anyway. All right. Now we get the subframe off. And we should be able to get that airbox out. And there it is. And we'll be able to give that a good cleaning. I mean, it is literally completely stopped up. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it is completely stopped up with the remnants of that air filter. So I looked on YouTube, didn't see any videos on how to take an airbox off. I'm new at this too. Never owned a KLR. I really like this bike. Hope this helps somebody. I'm going to give it a carburetor cleaning too. I've got to do that because I know some of that air filter stuff is in that carburetor and was causing a little bit of high end missing. So I'm sure that that's what's going to be the problem. At least now I can get to the carb. Hope it helps.